Thank you, Matt. If there's a mechanism to make this PowerPoint presentation available to anybody in the room, we will certainly provide that through Brian. This slide up here is our contact information as well, so that'll be in there and available to everybody to answer any questions going on. Like Matt said, I am from the Santa Clara County local at the IGW, Local 332. My name is David Bear, and first and foremost, I am an electrical worker. I'm active in my community, and I believe in standing up for my rights in the workplace and in the community. And I believe a lot of us here have that common bond.
Hell yeah.
So I'm going to get away from my Mac a little bit and play with my remote and see if I can follow the slides and animation from my iPhone here. So I'm going to let these move quickly here, and this summarizes some of what Matt was mentioning. He did a great job of introducing the IBW structure and our basic tenets. This particular sentence is one of my favorites out of the Constitution. And in fact, on my business card, I have a combination of the last sentence and the first sentence of our Constitution, which has, of course, this paragraph at the bottom, but it talks about higher standards of citizenship and standing in the community as well. So it's definitely one of our tenets, and I believe in it. Actually, there it is. More or less, that's on the back of my business card as it is. So that's definitely what we believe in and what we stand for. So one of the things that we provide with the IBW is opportunity. No one in the IBW that works in the role that Matt and I do as organizers is ever going to say that we guarantee you a job. What we guarantee is opportunity. And we guarantee opportunity for employees and employers. I'm a little quick, sorry. But so as far as opportunity for employees, some of what we offer are training and safety. Safety is one of our pillars. When the IBW was founded, a man by the name of Henry Miller, who actually never worked on a union job site, he was the primary founding father of the IBW, and all he did was travel around Midwest and various parts of the country as distribution lines were being erected all over the country as electricity was finally being utilized. And he was working at a time when there was a 50% mortality rate for those workers, and they were working for nickels and dimes an hour, and really decided that they needed to come together and form an organization that would advocate for their rights. And I see a lot of parallels in the solar photovoltaic industry. I know that the industry has evolved as the technology has, and the implementation. Solar thermal came up first and really was active in the 70s with the rebate programs and everything, and lately we've seen the solar photovoltaic emergence. And I believe safety is one of those common pillars. Not too far from where we're sitting right now in San Pablo. April 7th, my mom's birthday, I'll never forget it. A man by the name of Hans Peterson. Everybody know about that? 30-year-old man fell off a 44-foot roof in San Pablo and lost his life due to not having appropriate fall protection. Doing what you guys do for a living, what I've done for a living before I do this. And that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable that I can't find it anywhere on the internet either, as far as I'm concerned, except for memorial sites. That's definitely what we stand for, is preventing those things. And now, fortunately, the Solar City employees are enjoying what maybe management over there isn't so happy about, which is OSHA being up their backside and making sure that they're tied off appropriately. But I would hate to think that, as we go through this process of getting to know each other, you guys learning who we are, that somebody in this room could suffer that fate. Electricity and gravity are our two biggest challenges to overcome in the workplace in this line of work. So, not taking anything away from me, but the solar thermal in here, by the way, but gravity definitely fits in there as well. So I'm going to move on. I don't want to get hung up on that, but you can see I feel very strongly about that. Community is very important. We're active in our community. We get involved in politics, and we stand up for our rights of our own members as well as members of the workplace in general, or people at the workplace in general. One of the things that I found so strong about what Matt was saying is that other people outside of unions grew to expect what unions fought and suffered for, including the weekend and the 8-hour day. Those were were two of the elements that Matt did mention, but he mentioned many others, including healthcare and general rights in the workplace. We believe in those as well. You might see bumper stickers around, unions, thank them for the weekend or something along those lines. Career paths is a big one as well. What we've provided with the solar installer agreement is what I consider to be another ladder on the career path, or another step on the career path ladder. And I'm not suggesting that there's anything less than noble about the solar photovoltaic installer, but over the years, the inside wiring classification has negotiated for the highest wages, health and welfare benefits, and pension benefits amongst all the classifications that we have in IBEW and the construction branches. And the solar photovoltaic industry, for a variety of reasons, quite similarly to the residential construction industry, has not found the same reasons to compensate people at the same level as inside wiring. How's that politically correct? And so what we had to do when we decided to sit down with the solar industry, CalCEA obviously being the solar industry in the state of California, was say, okay, where is the benchmark? What is the industry supporting? And where can we go forward collectively? So when we met with Brian over the last week and he flipped through the binder there and got to the wage schedule, he showed obvious emotion that I'm not going to hide or pretend didn't exist about the wages that he saw on that sheet. And the primary scope of this agreement is for residential solar PV installations. And typically speaking, residential construction has been compensated at a percentage of what commercial construction is compensated for. Is that pretty clear? So what we're working towards is raising the standard of citizens, or standard of living, right? And one of the things we have in one of the intro slides, and we do that by collective bargaining. We have to basically establish where we are at this point in time and then go forward. A lot of parallels to Joe's presentation as far as getting together and working together for common goals. So it's very captivated by that, Joe. Thank you. Stability, wages, and benefits are two bullets that go together. Stability, we provide a certain amount of advocacy in the workplace. We have various boards and committees that take care of some of the discrepancies or issues that can come up in the process of putting people to work and having people at work in their workplace and having disagreements with their employer. And then wages and benefits, like Matt mentioned, we negotiate for those collectively, and we share in good times and we suffer in the bad times with no increases and sometimes only just enough to keep our health and welfare plan and pension plan in good shape. Going from landscape to portrait as I turn my hand a little bit, and any iPhone users out there. So let's go to the next one. Opportunity for employers. Increased work opportunities, that can come in the form of engaging in public works with more predictability and security. One of the slides in Joe's presentation was about the collective in Massachusetts, which has some struggles bidding municipality work in their particular state, and there could be laws in California or conditions in California that make that the same, depending on how co-op would be set up in California as well. Worker retention, we find that when wages and conditions are standardized and everything's up front, the workers tend to be more productive, more happy, and want to stick around. And one of the things that is one of the pillars in the IBEW's wage schedules is that basically everybody gets paid the same for our classification. Now, that's considered a minimum rate, but very rarely is someone compensated over their rate. And usually if they are, they might be paid a foreman's rate instead of a journeyman's rate when they're not acting in a foreman's capacity, which I've been in that role before, and it's a nice bump. It's usually 10 or 15% more. So that's always good, and it's always attractive, and it certainly made me a happier worker when I was in that condition. But I had to earn it. So access to a skilled workforce, as a union, we basically decided to control the labor in a market, and we are the skilled workforce. And so by being signatory to a collective bargaining agreement with the IBEW, a contractor would be able to have workers referred to them when they need them for the specific period of time that they need them. So some of those durations could be as short as a week or two, or several days. Others, some guys have taken dispatches to contractors and never been retired. Access to training. And I've got management and field here because we provide training for our apprentices, our journeymen, and we also have project supervision training as well. And one of our partners before we partnered with CalCIA very recently has been the National Electrical Contractors Association. And the National Electrical Contractors Association is a group of our employers collectively, and they also have a program called the Management Education Institute, so they do foreman training in conjunction with our JTCs as well. So JTC, sorry, I'll prevent the alphabet soup, Joint Apprenticeship and Training Committee. That's the collective of the contractors in the union that come together and allocate money to go into training programs that then workers who are members of are able to go and take part in at little to no cost. Usually it's just the books, which is definitely a benefit, especially with state certification laws where you have to get your continuing education degrees. Access to benefits for employees. One of the things that a company has to do when they manage their own pension, health and welfare programs is service them or contract that out. And as a member firm or a signatory firm affiliated with the union, that is built into the program, and an employer doesn't have to set that up on their own, they just have to participate in it. And that's pretty straightforward. So that's certainly a benefit for employers, because that can be an expensive part of the equation. So one of the things that we hear from a lot of people are myths. The titles of these next few slides are why not IBEW? One of the things we hear out there is the union wants to run my business. So I tried to get this to go in sequence. That's a lot of text. I apologize. I wanted to segue, but my animation wasn't working right this morning. So I'm going to avoid reading that. Let you guys read that for a second. What this is our employer rights clause from the solar installer agreement, and it's common to all of our collective bargaining agreements. And this language here, basically, it's our limitations as far as union rights. There's union rights and employer rights in every one of our collective bargaining agreements. And this is the primary employer rights, and just about everything's covered in here. Yes?
So this may be beyond the scope of today's talk, but there's the idea of, the basic tenet and the premise of the union is having a boss to pick it or somebody in charge to complain to or talk to or try to negotiate with.
Yeah.
Right. So in our particular case, if we're talking about worker-owned business, so in other words, if all of us were the owners, how does that, what's the crossover there? How does a union and a worker-owned business work together? And I don't know, could you touch on that? Or?
Absolutely, I can. In fact, you're prefacing, you're segueing for me into a few slides that we have about actually the largest electrical contractor in the United States is an employee-owned company, Rosen Electric. I don't believe it's in the definition of a co-op or any one of the forms and definitions that Joe referred to. I'm certainly not going to pretend to be an expert. I will tell you where my limitations are, but I will tell you that is an employee-owned company, and they are a union shop. They've been around since 1919, and the employees bought out the ownership that started the company. So it's generally speaking, and a lot of parallels to what Joe was saying about having bylaws and rules and structures and policies. I believe that a company that's signatory to these agreements is going to have to go through the process of that. And so there would be the entity of the company and then the workers in that regards, in terms of if somebody feels that they're wrong, there could be mechanisms within the co-op. In this particular case, we have legal teams. Ours and whatever legal representation was gathered by the co-op would make sure that the procedures and policies were consistent, were able to work with each other. Was that a lot of words to say nothing, or was that a pretty decent answer?
Yeah, no, I'm sure there's more to be said about it, but...
Yeah, I mean, that could be where we can go into a lower elevation